Youth Network for Positive Change, UNETPO, presents the 5th Annual Education and Youth Leadership Conference, styled AYEAL 2022. The conference is scheduled for July 27 to 30th at the Tiah Guest House in Kakata, Margibi County. The all-important conference will bring together youth leaders and stakeholders from Liberia and around the world. International guests at this year's conference include Honorable Abdullah Njai, the youngest lawmaker in West Africa from the Gambian Parliament, and Mr. Soshima Aro, the Pan-African Experience Podcast International Observer from Scotland, and many more. Registration is $35 United States dollars, which covers accommodation, 4-square meal, and T-shirts. To register, call cell numbers 0770-285-562 or 0888-886-083, or visit us on our website at www.unetpo.org. That's www.younetpo.org. It's the Youth Network for Positive Change, UNETPO, 5th Annual Education and Youth Leadership Conference style AYEAL 2022 at the Tiah Guest House in Kakata, Margibi County. Let's meet there. That's the sound of a victory.
This podcast came to be because I want to reignite discussions about Pan-Africanism. And the purpose is to plant seeds of unity and inspiration among Africans, both at home and in the diaspora. I believe we have come to the stage where our continent is more vulnerable than ever, and it's up to us to decide our fate moving forward. What we will come to realize, I hope, is that we're so much more alike than we're different. And this show is just a small contribution to the public discourse that is going on in Africa right now. My name is Soshima Iro, and this is the Pan-African Experience. On today's episode of the Pan-African Experience, I'm going to be in conversation with Mr. Tiah. Mr. Tiah is the Executive Director and founder of Youth Network for Positive Change. Youth Network for Positive Change is a grassroots movement in Liberia. We are going to be discussing their upcoming youth conference, which is taking place in Kakata City. I'm very grateful and honored to have Mr. Tiah on this podcast. Mr. Tiah, welcome to the Pan-African Experience.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. You know, there's a vibrant youth movement across Africa, and what you're doing in Liberia right now and what your organization is doing is one of these movements. You're the director of UNETPO, and that's Youth Network for Positive Change, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Please, can you tell me a little bit about this organization, what you do in this organization?
All right, thank you so much. Like I said, I'm so excited to be on this platform. At Youth Network for Positive Change, we are a youth-led civil society organization, and most of our programs are youth-focused and youth-centered. And we operate our projects and program in 4 thematic areas. And those thematic areas include education, health, environment, and good governance. So those are the 4 pillars in which we carry on our activities as an institution. We were founded in 2014. And since 2014, we have been able to work in Liberia. And successfully for us, we have worked in 8 counties. Liberia has 15 counties. We have worked in 8 counties. And we're still moving strong. We're growing our team better. And like I said, most of our programs are centered around youth. And so currently we have some programs that we run. We run program with FHR 360 in the health area with support from USAID, where we work with vulnerable women and girls in the various communities that we are assigned within our catchment area. And we work in Maserado West Health District. And we also doing a project with Carter Center. We call it the Inform Women Transform Life. It's a global campaign. And we focus on waste management, specifically providing information on municipal information as it relates to municipal government for women to have access to information relating to city government. And We also work for UNDP, where we did environmental awareness in 3 counties, in Nema, Bong, and Babulu counties, and we were distributing posters, brochures, and fact sheets centered around climate change and biodiversity, and telling the people in the rural area to not cut down the trees, the effect of cutting down the trees, to not eat certain animals. These things are very important to the ecosystem, and they help make our world a better place. Also, on the issue of governance, we have partnered with several civil society organizations to petition the national legislature to have an open parliament, where we're talking about the Liberian legislature or the Liberian parliament should have a website where citizens can go and access information that relates to the legislature. And we're talking about the legislature using electronic voting system, so that they will not do yea and nay voting. We should have electronic voting that will be able to be more accountable, to make lawmakers to know that they are accountable to their constituents when they vote. The constituents can follow up on their vote to know whether they vote in the right direction in the favor of them, or the voter in a negative direction. So these are some of the things. And we also petition the legislature to provide audits on all loans and grants that were given to them for the fight of COVID-19. And so around governance, we're also pushing for the local government, and there are a lot of programs we're doing in the governance area too. So that's just a very detailed, little brief, detailed but brief information about UNEPO.
Okay, you mentioned UNDP. What organization is UNDP?
UNDP is the United Nations Development Program.
Okay. And you're currently in partnership with UNDP with regards to the projects you talked about now.
Yeah, with regards to the environmental projects.
Okay.
That focus on climate change and biodiversity.
Okay. You know, like I mentioned earlier, you are organizing a youth conference through your organization, UNEPTO. And this will take place from 28th of July to 30th of July this year in Liberia, in your country, in the city of Kakata. I think I got it right. You know, what is the purpose
sure.
of what is the
sure.
Yeah, what is the purpose of this youth conference that is coming up?
Okay, the purpose of this conference is to bring the youth of Liberia together from the 15 counties to have a dialogue around peace as Liberia gets towards 2023 presidential and representative election. So our election is next year, and most of the actors in our electoral processes are youth, because we constitute like 60 to 65% of our current population. And so Liberia is a youthful nation, and these processes, youth play a very key role in these election processes. So because of that, we thought it wise to focus the conference this year around peace. For the matter of fact, we annually host this event, but for this specific year, as we get towards election, we're talking about peace. So what we want to do at AYEAL Conference 22 is that we want to develop a youth manifesto that will focus on peace, that will give a clear path and commit young people to be very peaceful in the upcoming elections, in which we want for stakeholders that will be there to also commit themselves to doing everything possible to sustain the peace of Liberia during these election processes. So this is one of the key focus of this year's conference.
Okay, so do you have like set of outcomes that you would like to achieve, you know, a set of outcomes or deliverables or actionable things that you would like to come out from this conference afterwards?
Yeah, sure. We hope to see a lot coming up from AYEAL 2022. Some of the things that we really look out for, like I stated earlier, was the issue of the youth manifesto. So the youth manifesto is very important. That is a policy document. That is a commitment document that we look forward to developing as a conference. And and that will be given to stakeholders and policy makers. We also look forward to enhance delegates' knowledge on peace building in democratic processes and encourage their meaningful participation. And then we're going to recommend ways in which government and stakeholders can increase the participation of young people in decision-making processes and reduce youth unemployment. So those are the three key areas, the three outcomes that we look forward to achieving from this year's event.
So you are going to get the stakeholders to sign this youth manifesto, to commit themselves to whatever the set of outcomes that are on the youth manifesto. Is that the idea?
Yeah, sure. So the conference is the one that the young people at the conference will develop the manifesto. So after the conference, now as a follow-up, we're going to petition or present this account document to key stakeholders to commit themselves, because young people will already commit themselves at the conference that they want to see peace. They want to do everything in their own way to maintain peace come 2023. So after young people have committed now, we're going to have another program, post-conference engagement, where stakeholders now who we believe they are cardinal to the election process, like political parties, like some of the international community members that are within Liberia, like looking at the Liberian government. These are people that we're going to engage to ensure that they also commit themselves to that document for a peaceful election comes 2023.
Okay, so who are the key stakeholders that will be, in addition to the youth? Obviously, there's a lot of youth across all the regions of Liberia, which will be there. What are other key stakeholders who will also be there? Whether is there people from the government? Is there people from other non-governmental organizations? Who are the key stakeholders that will be in the event?
Okay, some key stakeholders, we're looking at representation from USAID, which are international development partner. We're looking at UNDP to be represented. We're also looking at Carter Center to be represented. We're also looking at Plan International to be represented. And from the level of the government of Liberia, we're also looking at the mayor of Monrovia City, which is Honorable Jefferson Koji. We're also looking at the ministers for urban affairs, Republic of Liberia, and we also look at the Minister of Youth and Sport. We're also looking at the Information Minister, and we're also hoping that we can have the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia at that program too.
So is there any other thing that, with regards to the conference, that you would like people to know about or to learn about? Maybe someone that is not familiar with the conference in the first place.
Okay, so this year we have our guest speaker and focus point of the conference that will really come to motivate the youth of Liberia to take on leadership role and decisions within our community, within Liberia, to help young people to understand that if it can happen in his situation as a young man, we can all step up. We don't need to sit back. We need to take actions for the changes that we want to see. So we are so glad and I'm pleased to announce on this platform that this year we'll be having Honorable Abdullahi Njai from Gambia. He's the youngest member of the Gambian Parliament, and he will be joining us in Liberia this year as a keynote speaker, and he's going to spend the rest of he's going to be with us for the rest of the duration of the conference from the 28th to the 30th. So he's not just coming to speak and go, but he has assured us that he will be remaining at the conference and until the conference ends before he can get back. Also, we're hoping to have people from the podcast that we are currently on to also be at the event. I think you, our host, we're looking forward to having some representation from your end at the level of the conference. And also, currently, we are in talk to one of the youngest lawmakers too from Malawi. She's a female. We are in talk right now. It's not yet confirmed, so I cannot announced, but just to let you know that between now and maybe days from now, we'll also be announcing our arrival for the event in Monrovia to be held in Liberia, rather, to be held in Kakata City.
Wow, this is very exciting, and I have to say that I am very excited to be able to come to the conference. I will be coming to the conference, and I can't wait to get to the conference to meet you and to meet your
Oh,
group.
that's good. So I waited to say that because I wanted you to say yourself, and this is official now.
So that's really good, Yeah, you said that there will be a youth manifesto at the end of the conference, which all the stakeholders will be required to sign, or at least you will ask the stakeholders to pledge to abide by the manifesto. And the manifesto mostly will comprise of elements to make youth peaceful, to promote peace in the upcoming election, which is next year, 2023. And I was also wondering, as we are, in Africa, the same in Nigeria, we have an election coming up next year. And of course, we want peace. But I was wondering if there can also be other elements in the youth manifesto to get the stakeholders to pledge to this, especially government of Liberia, whether it's the local government or the national government, to pledge to certain aspects of governance, youth development, and other aspects of your country. Yes, we want peace, but I would think peace should be the basic, requirement that you will ask for, on behalf of the government. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think the outcomes also speak to that, right? We'll talk about recommending ways in which government and stakeholders can increase the participation of young people in decision-making processes and reduce unemployment. So that is another key component of Liberia, because when you look at our scope, there are a lot of youth that are unemployed. There are a lot of youth that are not included in decision-making processes. So there's a key call that we want, a clear way forward that we're going to be recommending the government and stakeholders that you need to get youth into, look at our legislation. There are few young people, in the legislature. For example, there are a few young people that are ministers proper, that are actually the head ministers of agencies. There are a few young people that are also, in other sectors. So we want to say, if we are in a majority, we should be given a certain space to be able to compete, for these positions within our government system, both private and public sector. So that way it helps to empower young people for their voices to be heard. When young people are in various ministries and agencies, they're also going to look after their colleagues, look after pushing ideas that also benefit the other young people. So that's a more way to empower young people. Also, young people taking up the step to go for elected position within our governance system. We hear the other day the government is even increasing fees, from $500 to $5,000 before you can run as registration fee, trying to do that so that other young people who want to aspire for position can have that barrier over their head that they cannot go for that. So these are the kind of things we want to go against so that young people will be more stimulated and encouraged to go for that. And also we want to tell the government there are clear ways you can reduce youth unemployment. And those things going to come out from the conference. How young people want to see the government making unemployment rate to drop, to reduce to a level that at least it will be fair enough that most Liberians youth will have opportunities and job. So those are the key areas. Like normally the conference have committees. I did not speak to that. We have committees. We have committee on education. And those people that will be on our committee, they're going to come up with the educational component in terms of recommendation to the government. We have committee on health. Those committee members will come up with recommendations on health-related issues. And we have committee on good governance. So those committee are going to come up with recommendations. So our conference is structured to be very inclusive, to take everybody. We're going to have committee on environment too. What are those environmental issues that are affecting Liberia, and what are the recommendations that young people have? So those are the things that come out from the conference in terms of the outcome. So all of those recommendations are going to be fed into the youth manifesto.
Wow, this is really interesting. It's really great to see what you're doing and what your organization are doing, and youth population in Liberia is quite high. I believe is about 60% is below the age of 25.
Sure.
Right. So, like you said, this should reflect in the public structure, in the government. This should reflect that if 60% of the population is less than 25, at least there should be, maybe let's give the government maybe 20%. Let's start there. To have like 20%, that would be the case that maybe the organization will make, and also to put yourself forward. Like I said, you are more than capable to run for something because you're already doing your grassroots work. I discussed this with Honorable Abdullah Njai about this, trying to get, more youth to go into public office because, I don't want to be pessimistic, but I'm giving up to the old people who are running the government in Africa now, So we want like young people. We want young people to take over. So, do you have any structure in place where you can encourage, select few or maybe people that have been through some form of leadership program that you conduct that can put themselves forward to run for office? It doesn't have to be national, it can be local, start locally and then proceed to national offices.
Yeah. So one of the things we do, we also at AYEAL conference, we have some workshops, right? Workshops that give young people the clear path to leadership and also entrepreneurship. So like we talk about general leadership, basically we focus on getting into public offices. And also we look at entrepreneurship, starting a business, starting an enterprise, innovating something that can cause change to the world. And then you can also benefit as a person, right? So we look at, those are workshops that will be at the conference in various sections. Those that are interested can go out for it. And those workshops will have good facilitators rather, that are coming up to tell you, this is the pathway. If you want to be an elected official, these are the kind of work you need to start to do as a young person. Try to build up your grassroots campaign, move on, advocate for things, be this kind of person and guide them to their path. And some of them will even have the opportunity to select mentors that will also mentor them beyond the conference cycle, right? That will mentor them and guide them through their career if they want to go there. We're also going to have successful business people who also came up from the grassroots level and they are young, right? They are youth themselves and they came up with innovation that is causing or changing our society, and it's their business, their own ideas, and they're employing a lot of other Liberians, helping to reduce unemployment. So those are the kind of things that are also going to be coming up at the level of the conference. We're going to center around detailed information relating to empowering young people. Yeah.
And I'm also thinking, because certainly from in Nigeria, when I was coming up, it's always about, you have to go to university, you have to study this, you have to study that. So oftentimes we overlook the technical aspects, whether it's, there's not a lot of technical colleges where people can just learn to work with their hands. There might be people that are more, more than capable to work with their hands and not people that just want to read books all day, so we play into people's strength. So hopefully there will be some elements of technical, whether it has to be, approaching like companies to start an internship program through UNEPTO, and to see if we can have a funnel, of young people to start developing their skills. They don't have to be in university, as they just have to be willing and motivated to learn new skills, and then we'll find a way to put them through a funnel where they can get work placement and things like that. Would that be something you would consider looking into with businesses around your city and nationally in Liberia?
Well, thank you. That's a very good recommendation. Actually, at previous conference, I can remember in 2019, we have We have a committee on that, but actually I must admit that we kind of like missed out on getting it back in 2022. So I think, thank God that you brought it up. We try to do that, and even where we having the conference in Kakata is the hub for technical vocational education, where we have the Booker Washington Institute, which is the premier technical vocational institute in Liberia, of which I myself I am an alumni of that institution. So it is a very good thing, and I note that your recommendation will be taken into consideration.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about you. Obviously you're someone that is passionate about development, you're someone that is passionate about peace. And so how did you get here? So can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your background?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm a young man, grew up, raised by a single father, and I was at a very tender age when I lost my mother. My father stepped up, he took up us and carried us through the war, and then we survived, and then started going to school, resumed school after the war. We started, my oldest brother and I, and my father was head of an NGO too, right? It's called Helping Hand Liberia. So he started this whole thing, and I grew up seeing him being very devoted. Even during the war, he would have to be away from us just to go and help other people. So I saw that, and I became passionate about it. So growing up, further, he said, "Oh, look, I want you to do electrical engineering," and I was kind of like that. No, it's not me. But he said, please, you have to do this. So, in Africa, our parents normally try to influence us to do what they want us to do. So I went for that, right? I did it. But it was still not my passion. So after graduation, I left the entire field. I started establishing, UNEPO. So I went to him one day. I said, Dad, I'm seeing that you're getting weak and not too much into your NGO like before. So can you train me, or can I work along with team to be able to succeed you in time to come? So he looked at me and said, no, I told you that area, I don't want you to go there. So, I took it as an opportunity, actually. So I took it as an opportunity, and I started organizing UNEPO at a community level. I got a few of my friends, I shared this idea with them and this vision, and some of them buy into it, and then we started. It was not very easy. It was very rough, but the passion and the persistence, kept rolling, and then we started to get it moving. So one day he came and said, my father now, he said, I don't know. He told my oldest brother and said, this guy, so he just wasted all, where I sent him to learn the education, and he's doing different things from, and he doesn't even have a job currently. He need to do other things for himself and family, and then still he's just keeping to this thing. So I told him, I said that it's not so much about the money, it's not so much about what I earn, it's not so much about the life that I live, by the hands-on job or fat job that I have, but it's something I have passion for. I saw you doing this, and that's how I grew up with the passion, and so I want to be this person that will also impact the community, impact the life of young people. And that day he agreed with me, and then started giving me some ideas on how to strengthen my team, how to write some good proposals, started giving me ideas. And gradually we started to emerge into the space of Liberia youth-led organization to be a vibrant institution. And today where I am, I'm so excited. It is, I'm doing this because I have passion for it. I'm not doing it for anything else. It's something that I see that one thing I always say to myself, when you are young, it's a time to prove yourself and make an impact. Because when you get older, you will not be like before. You will not move like the way I can move now and organize things faster. I will not have the time to do that. Even if I want to do it, I may not have the strength to do that. So while in your youth, it's a time to set up a career. And, I'm married, my wife and I, and still pursuing education. I'm currently studying public administration at the AYEAL University. And we have a team at UNEPO that is very youthful. We have a board, we have a very big structure. And with the support of the partners that we call, that were listed earlier, for the various programs that we do, we are gravitating gradually to a very high level in Liberia when it comes to civil society operations.
Wow, that's really interesting. And, I can see the passion, obviously, and I hope that you continue to move forward. And then, hopefully this organization, your organization, will continue to grow and will become an Africa-wide organization that will be replicated across African countries, and hopefully, as we discussed informally, this conference will become an Africa-wide conference where more, because Africa is becoming, we're in a global world anyway, but Africa is becoming more together. We want to promote that togetherness across Africa. So hopefully, with time, the conference will become an Africa-wide event where people from across African countries will be able to attend, and that will be really good. And I believe this is something you're working towards to, as your official goal.
Sure. Even the vision of UNEPO actually is to expound its programs across the continent of Africa. So that vision, like you said, having maybe UNEPO Nigeria, UNEPO Ghana, UNEPO South Africa, those are the kind of things we want to do. And the platform AYEAL conference, we want to make it as a big platform where we have head of states coming to commit to young people issues within Africa. So like you said, everything is from the base. And let me just give you this joke. I was sitting with one big business guy the other day that want to support and serve as sponsor to AYEAL conference. So he said, the way you explain this idea is like the ECOWAS. When ECOWAS started, they had the first conference in Nemba, in Senegal at the time. That's the OAU, rather, the OAU. So when it started, they had this conference, and the first conference was in Liberia back then. So he said, it's like, this is what you're talking about. Without even knowing the vision for it, and say, this conference this year, and the way it's starting, and the momentum is taken in Liberia this year, I can see it going continental-wide. I can see it going very big. But you guys have to put a lot into it. And, we just laugh about it and say, yes, that's what we're thinking about. And with your support, with everyone's support, we can get it to where we want to see it.
Yes, that's really what everyone wants to see, youth engagement in Africa, because I really want youth to be more active in terms of grassroots movement, in terms of activism, in terms of holding our leaders accountable. Because if we don't do that, we'll just be in autopilot. Our countries will just be in autopilot. The leaders will continue doing what they're doing, and hopefully things will start to change as we look up to people like you and people like Honorable Abdullah Njai and people like you across Africa. There are so many people like you in other countries. Hopefully, we'll just manage to make everybody join forces, and bring the continent.
Sure.
Bring the continent to greater heights. Okay, so I was wondering, is there any future plans, after the conference? Is there any future projects that you're thinking about to do, whether with the organization or with another organization towards development of Liberia or towards Africa in general?
Yeah, so I even started to discuss with Honorable Njai. I told him I want us to do this exchange program, right? That we have young people from the Gambia coming to Liberia for exchange, youth from Liberia going to Gambia for exchange, or having a platform where we can meet, and then we can start it to expound, right? Start to expound to other countries based on the negotiation or people that we know there. Like I know him in Gambia, it's easy to work, from there. And if I know someone else in Sierra Leone, then we start to expound it, and gradually it can become a global platform. So we don't have to do it overnight. If we have the opportunity to do it overnight, fine. But if we don't have, we can do it smaller, start with 2 countries, from there 3, from there 4, and gradually we'll take over Africa. And with that happening, we're also looking forward to establishing UNEPO. That is part of our 5-year strategic plan. We want to see UNEPO in the next 5 years, at least in 2 African countries, 2 other African countries. We don't know which country is going to be that yet, but that is just our vision, and that's what we hope to achieve in the next 5 years. Between now and 2026, we want to see UNEPO in at least 2 other African countries. So those are the things we want to do. And once UNEPO are in those countries, we have programs, we have other activities that will impact the life of other young people there.
Yes, when I come to the conference, I will hopefully work with you and your colleagues, I'm very passionate about education, and to change the curriculum, not just in your country, but in my country as well, Nigeria, and across Africa, because to include more Afrocentric subjects, more Afrocentric courses, because oftentimes we'll learn about the history of others, we'll learn about other countries, we'll learn about other Western countries, but we need to delve into our own countries, into our own continents, see what happened in the past, because if we cannot learn from the past, there's no way we can make positive policy for the future. So we need to learn about, our countries, our continents, see what happened in the past. What happened in the past? Why is Africa the way its currently is? We have all the resources, not all the resources, but at least we have most of the resources in the world, but yet we're still considered undeveloped or developing countries. So why are those things? So these are the things that will be part of the curriculum, and young people will now start thinking about these things. Not that, I know that young people will have answers, but if they're not thinking about it, there's no way you can expect them to come forward with answers. So first of all, we have to engage them to start thinking about this issue, to start learning about the past, to start learning about, how come everyone that you speak to, when I was growing up, all I hear is that, Nigeria is in debt. This African country is in debt. This African country is in debt. Why are all African countries in debt? Do you understand? So these are the things that we're going to delve into. What are the pacts? What are the pacts that individual African countries sign with the colonial, former colonial structures? What are those? What are ways that we can destroy these pacts to form new alliances? This is a global world. We cannot isolate ourselves, but we have to engage with countries on our own terms, not on a post-colonial terms that, you can't suddenly start owing someone after getting independence. That's almost like a fraud. So these are the things I want to talk about in education, not in the conference. This is informally, because I want to just sit and observe and listen in the conference, but at least informally to talk about this with you and your group, to find ways where we can, push your government. I'm speaking exactly the same thing with Honorable Abdullah Njai for Gambia, and I'm going to be pushing that in Nigeria so that we'll get this into the curriculum, and because it's permeating into our culture. A lot of our culture, especially in Nigeria, a lot of our culture is being overridden by Western culture, especially US, American culture. And our culture.
Same thing here in Liberia.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, one day I sat with one of the ministers in our country, and that deals with internal affairs. And internal affairs is the statutory mandate institution that work around the culture within our country, right? So I sat with her. I said, do we have a real Liberian cloth, African cloth, right? Clothing that we can speak to, that we can say, based all of what the people have brought to us, but this is what we can normally wear. I say I've grew up from my young age to now, I'm not seeing that. Then she just laughed. She said, it is around. I said, no, but we don't see them. Even when we have international event, cultural event, we don't see that something that set us aside. I gave her an example. I said, like, you see Nigeria, you know that Nigerians have a special attire, right? That's what they wear. But for Liberia, I'm not seeing that. Or specific, most of the things we will still wear here is what we see from other African countries. And, you know, I told her, and we just talked about it, and I said there should be a something that shows. And that happened because we are letting our culture to be weighed away by Western influence. And so because of that, no more our youth, even the older ones, right? They don't see that again as a culture of value that we should have to be able to promote ourselves as a country. So there are a lot that the West is doing to influence cultural practices in our country. And if we don't put them back on track, we're going to lose everything and we will end up gaining nothing.
I was saying, in light of what you just said now about Liberia not having like a national clothing like we have in Nigeria, because in Nigeria we have like, you know, like 3 major tribes, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa. We have distinct clothing for each of these tribes that if someone wears it, you can tell this is a Hausa person, this is a Yoruba person, this is an Igbo person. And you're saying you don't have something like that in Liberia, because I was thinking, if I come to Liberia, I'm going to go and find the traditional Liberian attire, and I'm going to wear it for the duration of the conference. But from what you're saying, that's not looking good right now. So, so you don't have a national clothing or traditional.
It is rarely seen. And like I said, I asked that person, and they couldn't really tell me something to point to, right? And most of what we wear, to be honest, right? Most of what we wear, right? We see it for other African countries like Ghana, Nigeria. Most of the African suits, or, you know, for us here, we call it a purple suit. These are all designs that we see, right? I'm talking about something that is made here from our own self, that set us aside. That when you say this is a Liberian guy, this is what you see him with, right? We don't have that here, no.
Okay. So this will be the cultural element of your organization too. You know, we are focused, you can focus on policy and peace building, which is great. Those are very important, but maybe this is a cultural element that you have to work to. Maybe you have to go and find a historian. Maybe you have to go and speak to someone. What are our traditional clothing? You know, there has to be a traditional clothing. I'm telling you,
sure.
If you look deep enough, there has to be a traditional clothing. And then maybe you can revive that, you know. Again, there's too much work for one person to do, but it just exchanging ideas anyway. But it will be good to see that, and I'm looking forward to come to Liberia. I've never been to Liberia before, so I'm looking forward to come to Liberia. I'm looking forward to learn about your culture. I'm looking forward to learn about what your organization is doing, and I'm looking forward to, you know, have a broad exchange of ideas so that we can learn from each other and see ways that, you know, whichever way I can make any contribution, I'll be very happy to do so. So is there something else you would like to add? Maybe something that you would like to add that I did not ask you, I have not been able to ask you. Is there something else you would like to add to this?
Most of the things that we do today to benefit the life of many young people who have been. So we need to take up advantage. We need to take up the role. We need to take up actions. And these are the things that we look forward to motivating young people to do at AYEAL conference. And that's one of the weaknesses of Liberian youth. They don't sit. They do not sit, but don't take actions that help to empower themselves and other young people and other generations to come. So today, UNEPO is far beyond me. Tomorrow, if I leave to go and do something else, UNEPO lives and another young man take over and move it forward. So it has become something now that will go on from generation to generation. But Liberian youth, we don't think in that direction. And so because of that, AYEAL conference is going to play a key, role in that direction. That's why we want to bring influential young people around Africa, right? Like Honorable Njai, right? To come and talk to young people and say, you can be like myself. If I can do it in the Gambia, you can be like me, right? We're going to bring people like you on the platform who have ideas to change in the curriculum and putting our culture into it, that we don't get it leaving us anytime soon, right? So these are people that are going to step up. We also in Liberia, local are going to bring young people, like our city mayor is a very young man, right? We're going to bring him there to be able to tell Liberian youth that today I'm a mayor of Monrovia because I decided to take up actions that will put me to where I want to go. So it's one key component of AYEAL conference that we look forward, and we hope that we can achieve this. And after the conference, we're going to hear good news from some of our delegates that will be going out there back in their community to see those positive actions that will be taken. And we're going to follow up with them to ensure that whatsoever they have gathered from the conference, the kind of practical rationale to get them to become the people they want to be.
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Leo Tiah, thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I really, really appreciate, look forward to appearing anytime you need me to talk on this platform. I'm available. We can talk on so many issues. And I'm so grateful. And thank you also for creating this platform that promote issues around Pan-Africanism. And I want to say thank you. It's an honor being on this platform.